So this is the Creality version of the 3DChameleon color changer. We have the friction arm mounted to the hot end. The friction arm actually is just an arm that's elevated that has a ceramic coated friction surface on here. That friction surface will come up and it will come in contact with the filament here, allow the filament to move back and forth side to side. And what moving the filament does is that it actually pushes it in and out of the Y splitter into our extruder. We then have some custom G code on here that will actually help us add filament to the extruder or remove it and shape the tip accordingly so that it can actually be easily removed and reinserted in here by the machine. So it's a color changer, so we have one color on the left side and we have another color on the right side. In this case I have white in the right side, orange in the left side. We always start with it loaded with the right hand color. So in this case I have, as you can see in there, I have white filament loaded, and that's actually loaded all the way down into the hot end. So when we hit print, this thing will actually start printing white. What we're going to do is, I told it that I wanted to go ahead and print the raft and any of the priming stuff on the left extruder. So the first thing we're going to see is it's going to start to print, warm up, and then do one little test stripe in white. And then what it's going to do is it's going to unload the white, load the orange, and start printing the raft. So we should see that happen immediately. So let's go ahead and hit start. So it says it's heating the extruder, so we're going to get the hot end up to 80 degrees, sorry, the heat bed up to 80 degrees, and the hot end up to 235 degrees. As you can see right there. I'm going to go ahead and pause this video here. Okay, so almost up to temperature here. The heat bed hasn't actually come up, but we're at 228 to the target of 235. I've noticed this Creality has a few problems with getting up to temperature. So in this case it's kind of hovering around 223, 225 temperature range. It hasn't really jumped up beyond that. There it's finally getting 228, 230. Maybe it'll hit 235. If it just touches 235, I think this will start, but you can see it's already dropped down to 222. And this is actually after 3 rounds of PID loop tuning on the hot end. With the fan on under these same conditions, I really don't understand what's happening with this particular machine. But the funny thing is it has no problem getting up to temperature. So if I go in here and I do a little bit of temperature control, and I raise this up to 245 or so, you will see it will quite easily get up to the 235 target. There it's hit 237, 232, so it's bouncing around there, but now all I have to do is actually go back to control and restore. Actually, I didn't even have to do that, it did it by itself. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and heat up the temperature, the target temperature, so it's got a little blob on the end of the hot end there. So it's cleared it out. It's actually extruding white right now. And in this case what it's doing is it's advancing and retracting. So it retracted 100 millimeters, then it advanced to 90 millimeters, And then it's bouncing it back and forth a couple times just to shape the tip. And you'll see when the filament comes out of the extruder here, as it backs it all the way out, that it won't have any strings on it. And the idea there is that the shaping algorithm actually shaped the tip so that it removes any of those strings and that it is correctly sized to fit through the parts. Now it's actually run out of the ability to back it out any further because it's past the teeth. And that's where the friction arm comes in. So the friction arm is going to come up here, and it's actually going to rub against the bottom of the filament here. You'll see that. There we go. So it's actually pulling the filament out of the extruder. And in this case, you can see that the filament's no longer in the extruder. It's actually backing it out. We'll see it come out of here. It's kind of hard to see in this light, but so now what we're doing is we're loading the orange in. We should see the orange come into this spot here. So there we go, it's actually loaded the orange. And now it's advancing it into the extruder so we can see it moving along this path here. You should see it come right up through here. There it is. So there it is. Now it's going to come into the extruder. Let's grab that little nugget off of there. So it extruded white here, and now it will go through and do a little purge. It should create a little purge pile there. There you can see it's an orange purge pile. Now that it's created the purge pile, it should just go ahead and start extruding. And there you can see it's extruding an orange base for the raft. So in this particular case, it's actually creating the purge tower. This is Simplify 3D's purge tower. And now it's actually creating the first raft layer for the part. So this will continue to run as it prints. So we started out with a white filament loaded. It did a couple test stripes. It then removed the white filament. It then loaded the orange filament using the extractor arm here with the friction pad on it. It's then come down here. It's created our orange test pile, and then it's continued to print. And there you can see. Well, let's see if I can get maybe I can get a good shot of it here. There you go. There's a part. Perfect. So that's the color changer, 3D Chameleon 2-color changer for the Creality series of machines.